Think back to your school history classes. Most of us were taught that the last 1300 years of Indian history are a saga of endless invasions and repeated defeats. We were told that our ancestors were either disunited or too cowardly to resist. The Arabs, Turks, Persians, and Europeans, the foreigners kept winning almost all the time. Because we were ruled by others for centuries, surrender and helplessness must be our destiny. That's what was told to us. But here's a question. If these invaders kept beating us for 1300 years, why the hell are we still alive? Because these very same foreigners invaded other countries too, and those invaded cultures are all dead. Why is our ancient civilization of Bharat still standing while others, like the Zoroastrians in Iran, are nearly wiped out in their homeland by these very same forces? The answer is simple. Our ancestors did not lose every battle. They lost some, but they won many wars too. And most importantly, our ancestors refused to surrender. The fault wasn't in our ancestors, but in ourselves, for we forgot their bravery and courage. We wiped it off from our collective memory. In actual fact, our ancestors fought the greatest resistance movement in human history, the longest running war by indigenous people against foreigners, invaders, and settler colonial. And because of that 1300-year resistance, India could survive when other indigenous cultures perished. Today, it is time that we reclaim those stories and remind ourselves that our ancestors never surrendered, never gave up, and always believed in the indomitable spirit of Bharat. Take King Suheldev. He united people across castes and communities in the 11th century to defeat the nephew of Mahmud Ghazni, Salar Maksud. King Suheldev's coalition confronted an invading Turkic army that had swept through Multan, Delhi and Meerut. Bahraich became the site of the final resistance. King Suheldev, rallying regional chiefs and warriors, trapped and killed Salar in battle. Legends say not a single one of the Ghazni soldiers survived, and Turkic ambitions ended right there for over a century. Move west and you will meet Raja Dahir of Sindh, who was a few centuries before King Suheldev. Raja Dahir of Sindh was the last Hindu ruler there, guarding an ancient civilization against the Umayyad Caliphate's expansion. Dahir and his son Jai repelled two major Arab invasions, even slaying commanders Ubaidullah and Budail. Only with Muhammad bin Qasim's arrival did the fate of Sindh change at Aror. King Dahir died with a rallying cry, "If I am martyred, let history say I laid down my life for my people." Northern India witnessed the Rajput king Prithviraj Chauhan's extraordinary valor at the battles of Tarain. Despite ultimately being defeated in the second conflict, his first victory routed Muhammad Ghori's invading force, delaying the expansion of Turkic rule into India. Prithviraj's stand inspired allies and sent a message across kingdoms: never surrender without a fight. The North kept rebelling repeatedly, never allowing the foreign invaders to settle down. Through battles by the Rajputs, Jats, Sikhs, and many more, the bravery of the North gave some respite to the other regions from the brutality of these foreign invaders. Western India was shaped by the rise of the Marathas under Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and later the Peshwas, facing the full might of the Timurid Mughal Empire and later European colonial powers. These warrior leaders founded an empire based on merit, valor, and inclusive ideals. The Marathas not only checked Timurid Mughal dominance at key battles like Pratapgarh, but recaptured large territories from foreign rule, forging alliances across castes and communities and setting up Hindavi Swarajya, self-rule by indigenous people. Our establishment history does not teach us that it was the magnificent 27-year war fought by the Marathas that ultimately led to the degradation and neutering of the Timurid Mughal Empire. This 27-year war, with over 200 battles led by Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj and Maharani Tarabai, was in many ways the making of modern India. By the end of this period, the indigenous Marathas ruled from Attock in the northwest to Cuttack in the east and to Tanjore in the south. The valorous Lachet Borphukan destroyed the Timurid Mughal navy in the Battle of Sarai Ghat, fought on the massive Brahmaputra river. This ensured that the Ahom territory, which is called Assam today, remained independent from Turkic oppression. In the south, the Choda dynasty, heroic kings like Rajaraja Choda and Rajendra Choda, projected naval power across the world and avenged attacks on our indigenous culture. Let's head to Karnataka, where the fire of resistance burned in a queen's heart. Rani Abakka Chota defeated the Portuguese invaders for over 4 decades, a 4-decade-long resistance. This was long before 1857. Ullal, her port town, was vital and the Portuguese sought to seize its wealth. Queen Abakka repelled attacks in 1555 and again in 1568, even assassinating General Pihoto and Admiral Mascarenhas. Her army was multi-religious, Jains, Hindus and Muslims united under her banner. Treachery eventually led to Rani Abakka's arrest, but even in prison, she revolted, dying as a beacon of anti-colonial courage. Most critically, when much of the north had fallen to repeated and brutal invasions, the powerful Vijayanagar Empire to the south ensured that our indigenous culture remained alive. This was a critical crossover period before the Maratha, Jat and Sikh resistance began. The Indic Chronicles exists to rewrite the defeatist textbook narratives and spotlight these forgotten stories, real heroes of flesh and blood, cherished by their lands and communities, but sadly not by our establishment historians. India is the only pre-Bronze Age civilization still thriving today in its indigenous land. Such survival is not an accident. It comes from generations that refused to bow. Across the Indic Chronicle series of books, you'll meet more heroes, warriors, artists, visionaries, queens, priests and rebels who shaped not just Bharat's destiny but the world. For example, the defeat of the Dutch by Emperor Martanda Varma changed global history. You're not taught about this in your history book. This podcast, these novels, they're not just stories, they're a movement, a pledge to reclaim our heritage, one heroic tale at a time. Pick up the Choda Tigers or Legend of Suheldev and read. Comment below on any other stories of brave warriors that we should remember and celebrate in this podcast series and in the Indic Chronicles books. Join me in this resistance. Bharat Mata Ki Jai.